Welcome to Whispers in the Dark. I'm here to help you unwind and relax this evening. Before we begin, I'd love for you to take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Only if you truly enjoy the experience I create here. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you. It's always wonderful to see how this channel brings together a global community. Just so you know, there will only be a few ads within the first 15 minutes. And after that, the rest of the video will be completely ad-free. I hope you'll give this story a chance. I believe you won't find tales quite like these anywhere else. Now, dim the lights, put on your headphones, perhaps turn on a fan for a gentle background hum, and let's begin our evening together. The first story. What if I told you there's a place that isn't supposed to exist? A village so strange that it appears only at night, then vanishes by morning, leaving behind no trace. Some say it's just an urban legend. Others claim they've seen it with their own eyes. But what happened to the people who went looking for this village? That's the part nobody wants to talk about. The story first appeared in obscure corners of the internet, whispered about in late-night forums and message boards. People spoke of a hidden village, one that didn't appear on any map and no GPS could ever locate. It was said to appear out of nowhere, in the middle of the forest, as if the land itself shifted to reveal it. Most dismissed it as another creepypasta, just a scary story made up for clicks. But what made this different were the testimonies. Dozens of accounts from different people, in different years, describing the same thing. A village that wasn't there during the day, but if you stumbled across the right road at the wrong hour, you'd see dim lights flickering in the distance. The stories were eerily consistent. People described rows of old houses with cracked windows and faded paint, standing as if frozen in time. No signs of life, yet the sensation that someone was watching from inside. Every detail matched across unrelated stories, sparking a terrifying question. How could so many strangers describe the same impossible place? But the real fear wasn't in seeing the village. It was in what happened to those who tried to enter it. Transition. Because the people who went looking for answers didn't always come back. It didn't take long before curiosity got the better of people. A group of friends, teenagers, decided to prove once and for all whether the Vanishing Village was real. They posted online that they were heading out one weekend to find it. Hours later, their families couldn't reach them. Calls went unanswered. Their social media accounts fell silent. The only clue left behind was a text message sent to one of their friends at midnight. Just 2 words, "We found it." After that, nothing. The authorities searched the woods for days, but came up empty. No signs of a struggle, no car, no bodies. It was as if they'd stepped into thin air. The story made local news, but it was brushed off as a runaway case. What the headlines didn't mention was that the group weren't the first or the last to vanish after searching for the village. Transition. And soon, something even stranger began to surface. On an old, half-forgotten forum, someone uploaded an audio file. The title was simply, "Don't Go There." The recording lasted less than 30 seconds. At first, all you could hear was static, like an old radio out of tune. Then, a frantic male voice cut through, panting, whispering words between gasps. "It's not the village, they're not people." Screams erupted in the background, distant but unmistakable. Something slammed, metal against wood, maybe. Then the sound distorted, warped, and finally cut to silence. No one ever traced who uploaded the clip. Within hours, the account was deleted, along with every post it had ever made. But copies of the file had already spread, shared and reshared by people desperate to prove the legend was real. And yet, that was only the beginning. Transition. Because not long after the audio, the images started appearing. Strangers across the internet began posting eerie photos, blurry shots of broken houses, crooked fences, and dirt roads leading into a fog that seemed too thick, too heavy to be natural. At first glance, they just looked like random abandoned buildings. But if you stared long enough, you noticed the details. A figure in the corner of a window, too pale, too still to be human. A shadow stretching across the ground that didn't match the angle of the light. The worst part? The people who shared those pictures never lasted long online. Within days, their accounts were either deleted, wiped clean, or simply abandoned. No explanations, no goodbyes, just silence. It was as if the village didn't want to be seen and punished anyone who tried to expose it. Transition. But the scariest part was yet to come, because someone tried to broadcast the village live. A small horror YouTuber, known for exploring haunted places, announced he'd found the village. He planned to stream it live, to prove to his viewers that the stories weren't fake. When the stream began, thousands tuned in. The camera showed him walking along a dirt road, breathing heavy, flashlight in hand. Around him, old houses, peeling paint, doors hanging open. The sound of wind whistled through broken glass. At first, it looked like any abandoned town. But then, the stream began to glitch. Faces flickered in the shadows, their one frame gone the next. Viewers flooded the chat with messages. Did you see that? Behind you. Something moved. Minutes later, the video cut to black. For a moment, only silence. Then came a sound that froze everyone watching. Heavy breathing, ragged, uneven, right next to the microphone. The stream ended abruptly. By morning, the entire channel was gone. Every video deleted. Every trace erased. The YouTuber never posted again. Transition. But why? Why does this place exist at all? To answer that, you have to go back to the village's origin. Some say the village was real, once. Decades ago, it was a small settlement deep in the woods, cut off from the outside world. But something happened there, something nobody agrees on. One version says a massive fire tore through the town, killing nearly everyone inside. Another whispers about a ritual gone wrong, something that bound the land itself in darkness. Whatever the truth was, the government erased it. Maps were redrawn. Records vanished. It was as though the village had been erased from history. And yet, on certain nights, it returns. Not as it was, but as something else. A place stuck between worlds, repeating its own tragedy over and over, dragging in anyone unlucky enough to find it. Transition. And the worst part? It might not be done yet. So what do you believe? Is the Vanishing Village just another internet story? Or a place that exists somewhere out there, waiting for the next person curious enough to search for it? Maybe it's nothing more than a legend. Or maybe the reason it disappears from maps is because it doesn't want you to find it. If you were driving down a road at night and saw a faint light in the distance, would you keep going? Or would you turn around before the village noticed you? The second story. What if the person you thought you killed wasn't really gone? What if every shadow, every whisper, and every unexpected scar meant your nightmare had only just begun? That's exactly what Veronica faced. She believed she had ended the torment once and for all. But sometimes, evil doesn't die. It multiplies. It started small. A lock left undone. A window cracked open. A picture frame slightly tilted on the wall. At first, Veronica thought she was just forgetful, the kind of mistakes anyone could make after a long day. But then, it kept happening. Over and over. Nothing was stolen. Nothing obvious disturbed. Just small, eerie reminders that someone had been inside her home and wanted her to know it. Her mind went straight to one person, Wesley. Her ex. Her tormentor. A man who didn't just want control, he wanted to erase her. And now, it felt like he was back. But Wesley didn't break in to steal. He broke in to haunt. A wristwatch appeared on her kitchen counter, one she had seen on his wrist countless times before. Veronica's stomach dropped. This wasn't paranoia. This wasn't in her head. Someone was playing with her, step by step, making her relive the same fear that had once destroyed her. She ran to the police. They nodded, filed a report, and told her what no victim ever wants to hear. Without evidence, there's nothing we can do. So she went home. Alone. Doors locked. Lights on. Every sound amplified in the dark. And Wesley's presence hung over her like smoke. But the worst part? He never confronted her. He never shouted, never attacked. He just hovered, always behind her, but never within reach. And that was more terrifying than any direct threat. Because how do you fight an enemy you can't even see? But one night, Veronica decided she wasn't going to wait anymore. She was ready, knife in hand. And when the sound came again, she didn't hesitate. The creak of a floorboard, a shadow cutting across her hallway. Veronica's pulse thundered in her ears as she gripped the knife tighter. She wasn't imagining it this time. Someone was inside. And then she saw him. Wesley. The same face. The same smirk. The same man who had taken everything from her. He didn't have time to speak. In one desperate motion, Veronica lunged. The blade met flesh. Wesley collapsed, gasping. By the time the police arrived, it was over. Self-defense. That's what they called it. The reports were filed. The case was closed. And for the first time in years, Veronica felt like she could breathe. But sometimes the most dangerous ghosts aren't the ones buried 6 feet under. Months passed. The scars of that night remained, but Veronica was determined to move forward. Her sister, Catherine, was getting married. And for one weekend, Veronica wanted to forget everything. The locks, the break-ins, the knife. She wanted to be just a sister, celebrating love, surrounded by family. The rehearsal dinner glowed with laughter and champagne. Catherine beamed beside her fiancé, Dominic. He was charming, confident, everything her sister deserved. And then, Veronica froze, because next to Dominic stood a man who made her blood run cold. Same face, same build, same eyes. Dominic's twin brother, Fletcher. She told herself it was just resemblance, just genetics, until Fletcher lifted a glass for a toast. His sleeve slid back, and there it was, a scar, carved across his hand in the exact same place where Wesley's had been. Veronica's world tilted. She blinked, but the scar was still there, mocking her. How could Wesley be dead and standing right in front of her? The party blurred, voices muffled. Veronica excused herself and rushed outside, fumbling with her phone. Photos, social media, anything she could find on Dominic and Fletcher Caro. Picture after picture. Events, vacations, family trips. And in every single one, she saw it, that same scar. Her hands trembled. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't chance. Could Wesley have been Dominic all along? Fletcher? Or was there another brother she never knew existed? Her heart raced with the thought. What if killing Wesley wasn't the ending, but the beginning of something far darker? The next evening, Catherine insisted Veronica join a private family dinner at the Caro estate. The moment she stepped inside, Veronica felt it. The air was thick, heavy, as if every eye in that room carried a secret. Lydia Caro, the matriarch, welcomed her with a smile that never reached her eyes. Dominic and Fletcher exchanged glances that tightened Veronica's chest. Through the meal, the Caros asked strange, cutting questions. Have you ever lost someone and wondered if they were really gone? Do you believe some wounds never heal? Each word was like a knife. Veiled, direct, personal. And then Lydia leaned forward, her voice soft but deliberate. You know, Veronica, Dominic and Fletcher weren't always two. They were three. The room went silent. Triplets, not twins. The third was Wesley. Her blood ran cold. Lydia explained that Wesley had drowned years ago. At least, that's what they had told everyone. But the body was never found. Veronica's heart hammered. Had she been haunted all along by a man who was never supposed to exist? That night, Veronica couldn't sleep. Every sound in the estate echoed like Wesley's footsteps. Every reflection in the window looked like his face staring back at her. She realized the truth wasn't just about Wesley. It was about the Caro family. About secrets buried beneath their wealth and polished smiles. If Wesley was really gone, why did Fletcher's scar match his exactly? And if Wesley was alive, whose blood was on her hands that night? The questions tore at her until she understood one thing. Her nightmare hadn't ended when Wesley fell to the ground. It had only shifted into something much darker. Because you can run from a man. But how do you escape a family bound by secrets and a past determined to drag you under? Veronica thought she had survived the worst. But what if Wesley wasn't just Wesley? What if every face she saw in that family dinner wasn't just blood-related, but bound to the same obsession that once destroyed her? In the end, she learned something horrifying. Sometimes, killing your monster doesn't save you. It just wakes up the others. And maybe, the Caro family isn't done with her yet. And that's the end of tonight's tales. Thank you for keeping me company. It makes the darkness a little less lonely. I hope you found that perfect mix of fear and fascination. I'll be back tomorrow with more stories and mysteries. Until then, sleep well, and remember, they're only stories. Sweet dreams, my friend.